Hello, friends. How's everyone doing this evening? Hello, and welcome to the Tina Greer Show Small Business Conversations. I am so excited today to present to some and introduce to others, not no other than Miss Michelle Glover. Hi, Miss Glover. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Thank you so much. We got people coming on in, guys. Come on in. And
Awesome.
here you don't want to miss out on this episode of the Tina Greer Show Small Business Conversations tonight. We have a packed a time where we're going to have a lot of information we're going to share today. Very impactful information to help you grow in your business, in your career, in your life. So, what I would want to do right now, before we even go any further, is that I'm going to tell you a little bit about our special guest, Miss Michelle Glover. So, Miss McGlover is actually an entrepreneur. She's a career coach, visionary leader, and a woman committed to living her life on and with purpose. She is a 17-year award winning HR corporate executive turned entrepreneur. That's amazing. He's the founder and CEO of Journey Unlimited LLC, a professional coaching firm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Michelle is an expert in helping her clients align their purpose in their careers through visionary development and strategic career planning. Oh my goodness, this is phenomenal. Throughout her purpose to results methodology, clients have gained career clarity, focused direction, accountability to experience increased results and move beyond just surviving, but thriving in work and in life. She's actually been featured in several publications to include Voyage ATL and other inspiring stories of Atlanta. So let me formally introduce our special guest today, Miss Michelle Glover.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tina, for those kind words, for that introduction. And even I'm like, who is that? She's talking about me. Oh, so I truly thank you for the introduction and for all the people tuning in this evening.
Yes, definitely. So, I just shared, I didn't know a lot of these things about you because you're so humble in just providing excellent service to others, even on a volunteer basis. So, can you tell us listeners and the viewers of how did you start on your entrepreneurship journey?
Man, thanks, Tina. Wow. My entrepreneurship journey really started as a journey of purpose. I've been working in Siemens organization in human resources, and I got to the point in my career where I said, what is next for me? And so I did something different when it comes to career planning. So, yes, I had an executive mentor. Yes, I was on the fast track, but I wanted to take a step back. And I said, God, where would you have me to be? So I took more of a spiritual journey of looking for my purpose. Why was I put on this earth? And that's when I was led, or I don't know, pushed by the Lord to really start this business of Journey Unlimited. So no, I did not do what people do when it comes to starting a business. I did not follow the business plan. I did not have a year's worth of saving. I didn't have any of that, but I had a faith in what God had called me to do, was to create a business where it's bigger than your career, but looking at your purpose in your life and having your career aligned with it. So that's what I did. And I took the leap to do this purpose work. And I'm so thankful what I've been able to accomplish over the past 5 years. But I can tell you, it was not the cookie cutter. It was the exact opposite. But yet I knew that it was what I was called to do. So here I am 5 years later.
Wow, when I learned of knowing you, and then I've learned of what you do and the service you provide to your clients, I really felt that it was very important for us to have this discussion today amidst the climate that we're in,
Mhm.
with the pandemic, with the just the conflict,
Mhm.
what's going on in the world today, and then also the internal conflicts that we have as business owners.
Mhm.
It's tough when you're isolated, and then also really staying on purpose, on intent, being intentional in what you're doing, but not getting distracted on what's going on in today's society. So, how do you help your clients really decipher how they should stay on track in regards to their God-given talents and what they really want to do in life?
And Tina, this is a time now where purpose is really questioned, is in times like this, when there's so much happening in the world, when you're in that point of internal conflict, and that could be when you're quarantining, you're starting to ask yourself, why am I here? I'm realizing that I'm not happy, or I'm realizing that this is not it, right? So what is my purpose? So you are right on that people now are starting to question their why, because they want their life to have a bigger purpose, a bigger meaning and influence to other people, especially at this point in time. So you're spot on in terms of people wanting it. And so what I do is, my thing with helping them define their purpose now is really helping them go deep into the understanding of what makes them unique, whether it's strengths, whether it's their talents, their values, but what is it that sets you apart? Who are those people that you're looking to influence? What impact do you want to have on other people? And really go in not only from a tangible side, so taking my human resources background, but also from a deeper level of spiritual side using faith. And so combining the tactical with the faith elements, the clients go through discovery and visioning, and then the strategy to execute the vision.
Hmm. That is really good, especially really tapping into that the intuitiveness of what you bring and what you have, the talents
Mhm.
that God have given you, but then also understanding that there are going to be negative situations you come across, and how are you to handle it. Let's talk about in regards to business organizations and leadership. When you have to lead people, even though you feel like a lost sheep out here, you feel like you don't have the capacity to lead your organization.
Mhm.
Some insights or strategies or tips, or what is the plan of action for an executive that needs to lead their organization, but yet when they close the door and go home, they feel lost.
Right. The biggest thing that people are looking for right now is authenticity.
Mm.
People want you to be real, because you're struggling and they're struggling, and they want to know that, hey, I care about you and I'm being authentic in this. So authenticity, I would say, is that first layer. Also, it's this giving and receiving grace. And I say this,
Mm.
not only for leaders, but for individuals right now who are struggling with still, being quarantined, and now having still, kids at home, and, health concerns of family. But we're having to give and receive grace more often. Whether it's, you're on a call and someone's dog or child jumps in, it's okay. And when you give grace to other people, also give it to yourself. Like, it's okay that today was a bad day. Goes back to authenticity. Also, with leaders, one of the things that you're really going to have to push. So, a lot of managers are used to seeing people in the office and measuring performance. You're going to have to trust your employees. It may
Mm.
not be done at 3 o'clock because their kids on a classroom Zoom. It may be done at 5 o'clock. You've got to focus on the results and not so much the nitty gritty on how they got there, when they got there. So you have to, with leaders, trust your employees and focus on more of the results, not the tactical. Oh, I see you. Okay, it's got to be done at 3 o'clock. Well, you don't need it till tomorrow. Can we give each other grace in that aspect? So those are just some things that leaders need to do right now. And even, I'll just add this note, is we think that, oh, we're quarantined, that we're not having a cohesive team, and it's okay that we're just doing it.
Mhm.
Leaders got to think outside the box when it comes to pulling their team together, whether it's socials, whether it's, sending nice cards, thank you cards to your employees. But how can you think outside the box to keep your team connected? Because when you're writing those thank you notes or doing that work, it also, as a leader, helps you appreciate your team, which then helps you then think, oh, okay, we're doing okay as an organization. So
that is really good, because that goes kind of into my next question in regards to that cohesiveness, trying to keep a cohesive team,
right.
a pandemic. Can you kind of talk to us about organizational culture? Either does it change in this environment, this virtual or hybrid environment that some companies are faced with?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a good one. So your culture as an organization, whether it be, we have an entrepreneurial spirit, an entrepreneurial culture. We have a culture where we focus on, being servant leadership. That should remain the same. Right now, you're anchoring on your culture as an organization. What we're finding right now is what we say our culture is versus what we do is being exposed. Poor leadership is being exposed right now because those leaders are not reaching out to their employees. They're not trying to build a cohesive team. What we're seeing in our culture that we said, we're entrepreneurial, we want you to be autonomous and work and just get it done. Now we're realizing, hey, these people really were micromanaging and they didn't trust their employees. So those things of where the poor culture, where your say and do is different, it's being exposed. Because your culture should remain the same and be what anchors you at a time like this. So the good thing is,
Wow.
don't throw it in the towel, but just think of how can we increase our say-do ratio, where what we say in culture is aligned to what we do.
Wow, that is amazing. That is a great, great insight, because again, when you're working virtually, that whole micromanagement, is that person really working or are they taking a nap?
Right.
Versus being in the office where sometimes they can physically see. And I know a lot of that, because at the end of the day, I work with a lot of government contractors, and
Mm-hmm.
still need to fulfill the deliverables on that contract. They still need to execute at the end of the day, whether they have a virtual team
Right.
or in the office. So
Yes.
that is very important. Now, let me ask you in regards to, let's stay on organizational culture.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you, what are some of the best practices for individuals looking to hire for a cultural fit? So your HR hat, I guess.
My HR, and one of the things I did in my role at Siemens was I was over talent culture, helping the organization with change management and establishing a culture. So I love this topic of culture. And the question is cultural fit and how do you hire it? What are some best practices? And so, in addition to your behavioral based questions, one of the things you want to get to know is get to know the person, get to know where do they thrive in a work environment. Get to know. So ask questions about, when have you been successful? What environment are you the most successful in? And see what they say and how does that align with what your organization really, how they really behave. Also, you can ask questions about the type of managers that they like to work with. Who is your best manager that you like to work with and why was that? So then you get an idea of their style, their management style. Well, again, you align your leaders. Okay, does that sound like how we operate or is there disconnect? And finally, I would say is getting to understand the type of work environment from, do you like to work in teams? Do you like to work, solo? How do you get your work done? When do you thrive? Do you like to work indoors or outdoors? But start to get those types of, questions answered from the person to see, is this where they're going to be successful? Because cultural fit is a two-way street. Are they going to like working there? Because if they don't, they're going to leave, and then you're going to have a retention issue. You're going to have to go through the process again. And I think the cost is double, the amount is higher. So you're going to have a retention issue. And also you're going to have a performance issue on your side because they don't enjoy the work, because it's not fitting with their values. You culturally are going to have, hey, this isn't going to work performance wise. Oh, one thing I also want to add, this goes to the culture. If you're saying, hey, we're a family oriented company and we you and your family and you're working people 70 hours a week, there's a disconnect there. Judgment, but you have to be transparent on what it is your organization practices and culture, and then ask the questions to the candidate to make sure that this will be a good fit for you and for them.
Well, that is amazing because I really do think that that is a disconnect for small business owners. There's a time where you're just trying to fill the seat, butts,
Mhm.
especially when you've been awarded a government contracting and you have a limited amount of time and you don't have a professional such as yourself to help those individuals
Mhm.
really vet the right staff in order to fulfill work requirements, because I do find that when people sometimes they say, well, I'll just hire my family and my close friends, but there's no vetting process. So just you sharing just that little bit of information is really opened my eyes up to the possibilities of making sure we have the right employees to do the job,
Right.
that it's a good fit. So I am so glad that you brought that up. So let
Can
the
I add one more piece when you talk
oh
about the
sure.
family and friends and, hey, I've got this, I want to add these people on. You should have a consistent interviewing process. So
Mhm.
even if you hire your family and friends, I'm not knocking it because some of them could be great employees
Right.
for you, but
Mhm.
your interview process, you should have one and it should be consistent. So have your interview questions, the type of questions you have, so that way, you have a standard interview process for, and you can evaluate your candidates against one another based on those interview questions. So even if
Oh,
you
that's
do hire
really
your
good.
sister, at least you can say, you know what? I hired my sister because she was the best fit for the role.
That is really good because with, like I said, staffing plans and also really vetting your personnel, whether they be a subcontractor
Mhm.
or an actual W-2 employee, to really make sure it's a good fit. So I'm glad that you talked about that. Now, let me ask you in regards to, I guess we want to talk about coping skills. A lot of transition going on, a lot of transition going on, and to help people prepare, even for those who are going out into the workforce, because they're met with a lot of people losing their jobs, but there's still people hiring people.
Mhm.
So how would your organization, Journey Unlimited, help those individuals?
Yeah. And so I'm glad you said that because organizations are still hiring, for employees. Some of my clients have recently gotten new jobs in this time frame, in this COVID time frame, and with new opportunities because organizations are still hiring. So coping, how are we coping now? Again, as I mentioned before, that grace is so important for you personally to cope with where you are right now. Being very transparent each day on how you're feeling. I think sometimes we think the answer is always, I'm doing great. But are you? If you're not okay, acknowledge that feeling, because what it does psychologically is it helps us then say, okay, this is how I'm not doing. Now, how can I start to change that? What can I do better? But if you say that you're fine and you're not fine, you're not addressing the issue at hand. So that's one. Give grace, or give grace is number one. Acknowledge how you're feeling. Really focus on what you can control. Right now, there's so many things outside of our control, but there are things you can control, and start to acknowledge that. Even from a health and safety part, I can control what I eat. I can control getting up and exercising each day. I can control, how I respond to situations. Really focus on and acknowledge what you can control, and then say, now let me do those things and do those things well. So those are just some
Well,
things to
that's
work with
good.
right now. But the physical part, making sure that you are getting rest, and also thinking of ways from a health that you are focusing on your own health.
Well, that is really good, that we address that because it's really relevant in what's going on today. But I wanted actually, and also, guys, let me just pause for the cause. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. We want to make sure that we address your questions, and I want to thank you. We are streaming live via Facebook and YouTube. So for our LinkedIn visitors, you're seeing this via YouTube, Facebook. We're actually streaming business pages and sharing. So definitely share this out because I think it's really important for you to understand, your what you need to be doing in order to enhance your career opportunities and also be in a purposeful alignment with what you're supposed to be doing in business. So I would like to just pivot and talk briefly. We're all at 7:20 already.
Oh, wait, I've got more things to share.
Oh my goodness. I want to address the business leaders, the executives, those, because I work with a lot of small business owners who are establishing their business as it relates to government contracts. And so they're the head of the company.
Mhm.
Not only are they winning these opportunities, these contracts, they're now dealing with staff. So I want to address them in an executive way in regards to business strategy. What is important for business owners to develop their strategy? Do you have any tips that you provide in order to develop your strategy as an executive business owner in order to have business success?
Right. So a couple, and I like strategy. That's kind of the way my mind thinks. But the first thing is knowing your why, your purpose. So this discussion of purpose alignment is not just for individuals, but it is for organizations. What is the vision of your organization? Where do you see it in the next 10 years? And then once you have that concretely down, then you say, now, how do I get there? What steps do I need to take to get there from a financial perspective? So I'm going to give you 4 categories to help you in building your strategy. So looking at your financials, what does that look like from a revenue generation, decreased spending? What are your financial footprint that you need to make that 10-year goal? And keeping in mind, it's going to be incremental. So your financial goals. Another goal to look at is your process goals. As you know, the only way to scale your business is to have processes in place. So what are your processes for your organization? And that also helps as you grow, because as you grow, not only will you have a scalable business because you have your process, but when you onboard new employees, they know the lay of the land from your process. So have goals tied to that. I would say your customers and your market, you can put those in one category. But what are you doing from a customer retention, from a customer recruitment? What does that goal look like? So what are the goals around customers? And finally, employees. So from an employee development, what are you doing to develop, hire, train your employees? Even if you are right now a party of one or party of two, get this foundation in place, because what it does is it creates the habit. So as you grow, you have this habit already established. So when you're thinking of your strategy, you know your 10 years, put those goals in place to help you then achieve that. And again, start small, just do it. And then as you grow, you get better, you can start to fine tune it. So does that help with the strategy?
Wow, that is amazing, because even though it may be a small business, you have to think big business.
You have to think for where you want to be, not for where you are. If you think where you are, you will stay where you are. If you think for where you want to be, then you can position yourself for that. So party of one, still do that for my business. Still go through that process. Just because it's a best practice that organizations do. And if you want to be the big dogs, you got to think like the big dogs.
I love that. I love that. I mean, just the you have provided so much valuable information in a short time together. It has made me rethink that HR portion of things that I need to put in place to where I want to be, not where I am right now. So those policies and procedures, and also the being I guess the type of employees I want to hire in regards to organizational culture and fit, those things are so important for scalability.
Mm-hmm.
To grow our business, we don't want to be a one woman or man shop. We want to grow and scale our business. So that the small, you just shared of information that is very impactful. So I want to make sure that even the replay viewers make sure, how can they contact you and maybe schedule a consult with you?
Right. Yes. So you can go to journeyunlimited.com. So www.journeyunlimited.com. If you are an individual professional who is saying, hey, I'm struggling in my career and I want more purpose alignment in my career, you can schedule a discovery session. If you're an organization who's saying, hey, I want more of this talk on culture, I need help for doing a cultural transformation or just helping me get my business planning and the strategy going, again, you can reach out to that email address and get a consultation scheduled so we can have that discussion of knowing where you are, where you want to go, and then how I can support you moving forward.
That's amazing. And I also, a little birdie told me you have a podcast coming up.
I am so excited to launch this podcast. It has been sitting on my shoulder for the longest. And I'm like, okay, Lord, let's do this. But it is all about purpose alignment in career. I had an anniversary event back in November where I brought not only myself talking about the value and purpose alignment in your career, but I also had 3 executives across industries sharing the importance and how it has shaped them as leaders. And I want to have more of these conversations where you get to hear from senior executives across industries, hear their stories, how they got to where they are, the importance, how they serve others, but have that in an interactive dialogue. So I'm so excited to launch the Creating Your Unlimited Journey podcast, where again, it's all about purpose alignment in all that you do. So that way we don't think, oh, I got to do this one way. At work, I'm one way. And then at home, that's when I'll find my purpose. It's how do you find that alignment? And so that's what I'll be discussing on my podcast in February.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I actually attended your conference. It was amazing. And I cannot wait for your podcast to come up as well. So guys, don't forget, we have, if you want to have a further conversation, set up a consult with Miss Glover, definitely go to her website and schedule a consult. She can definitely help you in getting the clarity you need in order to be able to, be all that you can be for 2021. It is great that we had this conversation to start off the new year.
Right. I'm like, wow, this was right on time. Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate it.
Definitely, definitely. And also, guys, for those who are new to me, you know how you can reach me. And if you want to schedule a discovery call with me at any time to talk about how to position your company to be successful in government contracts, you can always schedule a discovery call, bit.ly, call with Tina, in order to schedule a call with me. I look forward to speaking with you. So this has definitely been an amazing conversation today. Thank you so much for all that participated and all that will see us on the replay. This has been a conversation to be had, especially in this current environment that we are in, and also for all the goals that we have set for our businesses for 2021. So let's get on purpose and be in alignment with Miss Glover. Definitely reach out to her and she will definitely be able to assist you. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today on the Greer Show Small Business Conversations. And I look forward to seeing everybody next month. Take care. And again, thank you again, Miss Glover, for sharing your expertise with everyone.
Thank you.
Enjoy. All right, guys. Bye-bye.